This video is made possible by my patrons on Patreon. Hello everyone, my name is Ziamaro and welcome to Battlebright Sage. So this is a question that came up on my stream last night, and I thought it was worth talking about in a little more detail. If you're new to Battlebright and you're looking to climb, you may have asked this question yourself. So let's answer the question. Which role is best for climbing? Before I get into the pros and cons of each role, I need to give you the stock answer. Play your best champion. I could tell you that Shifu is the best champion to climb with. I don't necessarily think that he is, but I'm just using him as an example. But if you're a god-awful Shifu, it doesn't matter if he's the best. In truth, you can climb with any role. If you're playing one of your best champions, you'll always have a higher chance of winning. But with that in mind, let's go through the pros and cons of each role, starting with ranged. Ranged is probably viewed as the least cheesy of the three roles in terms of solo queue climbing. The thing is though, in Battlebright each champion plays completely differently. People who are new to the game learn champions on their surface and often think that all the champions play pretty much the same. But anyone who's played the game for more than a few weeks will be quick to tell you that that couldn't be further from the truth. So in general, ranged is a very safe bet. A good Ashka, for example, is an absolute powerhouse. Ezmo is also a great champion right now. Both of them are a constant threat, and if you don't deal with them properly, they will single-handedly unravel your team. The main advantages of playing ranged are great orb control, consistent damage thanks to being able to deal damage from range, and the ability to peel for the support. Those are three things that pretty much every team is looking for, and as a ranged champion, you provide those things. So if you can successfully pull that off, you'll be an absolute asset to your team. One champion worth mentioning here is Jade. She's the only ranged champion a lot of people might view as cheesy. Turn off your music, the enemy has a Jade. Jade has all the strengths of any other ranged champion, but her main selling point is how strong she is against melee champions. Sometimes she can even outtrade melee champions in melee range. It's not to say that she's OP, although she's definitely the bane of a lot of melee players' existences, but she is a very strong champion for solo queue. So the main drawback of ranged champions is their inability to zone the enemy, or more accurately, they're less effective at zoning than melee champions are. A Snipe, a Ashka Q, and Alicia E is definitely nothing to sniff at when it comes to zoning, but nothing keeps the enemy in spawn like a strong melee champion. So, with that in mind, let's move on to melee. The melee role contains a lot of the pub stomper champions. Some of them walk all over lower ranks like Raigon, others taper off less dramatically such as Rook, and some continue to terrorize the enemy team all the way up to GC. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Freya and Shifu. If you're sitting in silver or gold and you have a good understanding of all the roles, melee will probably carry you out of there faster than any other role. Just some anecdotal evidence. Last season, I mostly played my second account when I wasn't streaming, and for some reason I got placed in low platinum, and I was really struggling to climb out as support. And bear in mind, I did get 2 accounts to GC last season as support only. But yeah, getting out of platinum was kind of tough for me. So I switched to Freya just for a bit of a laugh and mostly played 2v2. I'm not a great melee player, but so much stuff like game sense transfers over to any champion. I started baiting out counters and outs and then just going to town on people who wasted stuff. I climbed to Diamond 5 so much faster than I would have playing support, which I'm actually better at. And yeah, once I got to Diamond, I switched back to support and it was fine from there. I'm not saying that melee is easier. In fact, as you ascend the ranks, you'll find there's a point where people know exactly how to kite and peel you. And for me, there's such a hard cap for me playing something like Freya. I absolutely dominate platinum and below players, but somewhere around mid to high diamond, people know how to peel me better than I know how to outplay them. And suddenly, I'm the world's worst Freya. All this is to say, if you're a melee player, you shouldn't feel like you're cheesing your way through the ranks. I'm sure most of you know that, but I often see people on Reddit saying stuff like, I climbed a whole league with Raigon, am I a bad person? Or something to that effect. No. You must be pretty decent, so just carry on. So the question is, why does melee have an easier time climbing out of low ranks? Honestly, and I've already touched on this, it comes down to the enemy's ability to peel correctly. Low rank players blow their mobility and counters too early, and melee are great at capitalizing on that. Sure, you can punish people just fine as a ranged champion, but that requires decent aim. Melee champions are much less demanding when it comes to aim, but the trade-off for that is that it's harder to close the gap and actually deal damage. So when you're playing against people who don't know how to effectively trade cooldowns, you'll have a much easier time as melee. That's literally all there is to it. Melee isn't easier, it's just that they're very effective at punishing inexperienced players. Now let's move on to our final role, support. And this is my role of choice. Something that I mentioned before is that I struggled to climb out of Platinum as support. Why is that? Now, this isn't true of all support players, but I have a very, well, supportive playstyle. My main champions are Paloma and Xander, and the main feature of both of those champions is their get out of jail free card in the form of Other Side or Portal. In general, I only use those abilities when my ally is stuck in hard CC or has no cooldowns left. If my ally gets incapped and I other side them, almost everyone knows that you saved their butt and they're going to fall back. However, if they're out of cooldowns and you other side or portal them, who knows what they're going to do with that? They might see it as an invitation to go deeper into the enemy team. At higher ranks, that's less of an issue. But in Platinum, people don't know their limits. You can save them, but it's up to them what they do with it. So this is only an issue because of my playstyle. If you play Older or Sirius, you'll have a very different experience. Both of them can be very strong at climbing out of low ranks. They don't offer a whole lot to their team besides moderate healing, and that can become an issue at higher ranks. But at lower ranks, when you save your teammates and they don't really know what to do with it, you may as well just bring a bunch of DPS to the table as well. 2v2 is where supports really shine as a way to climb. 2s is notorious for being very comp dependent, but supports have the advantage of having way more viable comps at their disposal than melee or range champions do. If you play Blossom, for example, you can throw almost any DPS with her and it'll probably be okay. Sirius and Ulrich get bonus points here for being both melee and supports. They still have the melee advantage against inexperienced players, but they can also heal. Pearl is another support who can single-handedly carry games in 2v2, and she's viable all the way up to GC in 2v2. So after watching this video, you might be thinking, well, I guess I should just play Freya or Ulrich then. And my answer to that would be, sure, if you're good with them. But the truth of the matter is, most people have champions that they naturally click with. For some people, that might be a champion like Freya. For others, it might be Esmo or Sirius. So if you don't click with Freya, it doesn't matter that she can be a good pub stomper, you won't climb with her. So, I'm sorry guys, but this whole video has just been a round trip to come back and tell you, you know what, you can climb with pretty much anything. If you're good with a particular champion, that is the best role for you to climb with. Melee can be easier to climb with at lower ranks, but the tables will turn at some point and you may find yourself struggling to continue climbing. So just do yourself a favor and don't worry too much about which champion you're playing. Just play your best and roll with it, you will climb. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please feel free to subscribe for more Battlerite guides, news and discussion. If you'd like to help support the channel and get some unique rewards, then head over to patreon.com/BattleriteSage. And don't forget to check out twitch.tv/BattleriteSage. Until next time, thank you for watching and I'll see you soon.